we're live. Here she is. Okay, yes. Come on up. Get like super comfy back there. Oh this is the big leagues here. Come on, Michelle.
Wow.
This is the big leagues here.
Here we go. What a setup. Okay.
Okay, so I'm just gonna tweet something real quick.
Okay.
But get on those headphones and then make sure you can hear yourself in those things.
Okay.
Michelle, are you there?
I hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you sound good.
Okay.
Like a professional.
Wow, you too.
Oh, I can't believe you said that. You just made my day.
You know I'm a fan, so.
Oh, well, we're going to spend the first hour with you gushing about your being a fan of the show. Is that okay?
Yeah, I had no other expectations.
All right.
It's perfect.
Here, let me tweet this link here. My daughter's name is Michelle.
Oh, great name. How old's your daughter?
She'll be 17 in July.
Okay. So she's virtual learning, I suppose, and doing all that?
Yeah. Well, everyone's doing that. Yeah, for sure. But she's a good girl, so it's a good name. It's a
great name.
All right, so that's out. And now let me look at you. Okay. So I got this fancy new umbrella, but it's not really covering you. Like the sun seems to be coming from the side. Are you okay?
I have
You're
sunscreen
comfy?
on, and I love the sun. So,
but if it rains, you'll be covered. So.
This is perfect. And you know what?
Right.
I checked the weather, and I think we're okay for no rain.
Well, you're the expert, so we'll talk about that. Okay. All right, here. So you can ignore my DM, just making sure you're on your way. That was me wondering if you were going to stand me up, but you did not.
Here that was the coffee incident.
Okay, we're going to talk
discuss.
About it. All right, let's get into this. You know the drill. Let's do it. Okay. All right, Mike, let's press record, and here we go. Actually, hold on here. This will be fun, I promise.
No, I'm excited. I'm very excited.
Despite what you've heard, it's a good time. Okay. All right, 866. Oh, 66. That's a good number. Okay. Dun, dun, dun.
Wow.
Here we go. For reals this time.
Realsies.
All right.
What up, Mike? Toronto. VK on the beat. Check. I'm in Toronto where you wanna get a city love. I'm from Toronto where you wanna get a city love. I'm in Toronto like we wanna get a city love. My city love me back for my city love. I'm in Toronto.
Welcome to episode 866 of Toronto Mic'd, a weekly podcast about anything and everything. Proudly brought to you by Great Lakes Brewery, a fiercely independent craft brewery who believes in supporting communities, good times, and brewing amazing beer. Order online for free local home delivery in the GTA. StickerU.com. Create custom stickers, labels, tattoos, and decals for your home and your business. Palma Pasta. Enjoy the taste of fresh homemade Italian pasta and entrees from Palma Pasta in Mississauga and Oakville. Ridley Funeral Home. Pillars of the community since 1921. And Mike Majeski, or as I call him, Mimico Mike. He's the real estate agent who's ripping up the Mimico real estate scene. Learn more at realestatелove.ca. I'm Mike from TorontoMike.com, and joining me this week is 680 News and City News news and weather reporter, Michelle Mackey.
Hi.
Welcome, Michelle.
What an intro. You're such a pro.
Oh my goodness, you're the pro here. Please, let's not make any mistakes here. You are the media professional, but thanks for being here. This is awesome.
Are you kidding? The honor is all mine. As you know, I have been listening for quite some time, and I have been a fan. So to be asked to be on the pod, big honor.
Oh my goodness. So can you be a little specific here? I'm naturally curious. Like, do you know what episode was your first? Like, do you have any memory of what drew you in?
I believe it was a Kevin Frankish one.
Oh yeah, that'll do it. The first one, right?
It was from a few years ago, because I remember I was at the Weather Network at the time, and Kevin Frankish was leaving breakfast television, and I'm in news. I want to know what's going on.
Right.
And a friend of mine at the Weather Network told me there's this guy, Toronto Mike.
Okay, what friend? Can you name drop
Kelly Sonnenberg. She's a
shout
meteorologist.
Out to Kelly. Okay.
And she was like, Toronto Mike, he's always got the inside scoop on everything media in Toronto.
Wow.
And that's how I kind of got into it.
Okay, I love that story. And that would be the return of Kevin Frankish, where he comes clean about the fact that, no, he did not decide on a Tuesday that this would be his last week at his dream job. Okay, so despite what you might have heard, never believe the hype. But
that's right.
You're here. So many things to cover off the top. One is you're a little bit late, but you have a good reason. In fact, while you tell me why you're late, I'm going to have a sip of this fresh hot coffee you brought me. Thank you so much.
Yeah, well, this is the second coffee
my
bought
goodness.
this morning. So,
wow.
I really wanted to do something nice for you. You're having me to your backyard. Big fan of the pod, as we've discussed. I wanted to get you my favorite local coffee. It's on my street, place called The Good Neighbor.
Okay.
Just north of
what neighborhood are we? Okay, north of Hyde Park.
Yeah,
just I know that neighborhood very well.
Yeah,
I know this neighborhood well. Okay.
So I've lived there for a few years. It's my local spot. They said, you want a tray? I said, sure. And rather than putting it in the cup holder, I put it in the front seat of my car.
Oh, no, and it spilled.
Oh, yeah. Hit a stop sign and just tanked. So what we are drinking is the Sydney Grind, which is
my local
your local
independent coffee spot. Okay, tell me what you think.
Well,
it's only been here about 2 years now, but the locals seem to dig it. So
I dig it. It's delicious coffee, and I bonded with the server in there. Told her the story.
Did she recognize you, or he?
No,
was it he or she?
That never happens. Never happens.
Really?
Well, rarely.
Because you're in. I feel like, because the odd time I get recognized, okay, and I think, imagine if I was on in people's living rooms every night, you'd be like a member of the family. I would think you'd get recognized often. That would be my guess.
Maybe, but no one ever says it. I think it happened a couple of months ago.
But your voice is also, I find you have a very, I was listening to a lot of your clips. It's a distinctive voice, and it's a voice I enjoy listening to.
Thank you.
It seems to makes me happier to hear your voice. So I would think somebody might hear you, and I don't know, you're talking to a checkout person, and they'll say, I know that voice. Which happened to me at a No Frills once, where somebody
serious?
recognized my voice. Yes, which was exciting for me. And that guy took a selfie with me, and I remember that guy because he had a Bayside Tigers shirt on. And shout out to Zach Morris.
Oh, come on!
Which I thought was cool.
Amazing.
But you're telling me you don't get recognized that often.
No, and I even sometimes try to get recognized. I was in the store. I was in Rabba a few weeks ago, and they were playing 680 News in there. And it was after I'd gone to tape, so finished my shift, went to tape, so I'm still on the air.
So you can hear yourself.
So I can hear myself in the store. And so I was trying
and you're lip syncing.
Yeah. And so I go to the cashier guy, and I was trying to talk, in a news voice to see if he would recognize me, and it didn't happen.
Oh yeah, that's funny. Okay,
it didn't happen.
And we're gonna cover all this, of course. I can't wait to dive deep with you here. But how long have you been on 680 News?
2 years, just before the pandemic. I joined 680 in City News.
That means no overlap with my my homeboy, Peter Gross.
No.
You missed him by a couple of years.
I know. Such a bummer. He's an icon. So, miss Peter Gross.
Although, shout out to Carl Hansky, for example. Shout out to him, who's in the hood.
Carl is such a good field reporter. I still listen to his news reports. I was actually just listening to one on the way here, and try and learn from the pros who've been there for so long. And then the Richard Southerns of the world,
who last summer sat in the seat you're sitting in now.
I know.
What a good, and he helped me out a bit with a good cause I was helping out with called Toronto Miracles. So shout out to Richard Southern.
Richard is such a legend. He's the nicest guy. He's so quirky. He's, as you know, the exact same person off air as on air, which I think is one of the toughest skills, to be exactly yourself.
Are you yourself when you're on you're on a mic right now? So you might have you have a switch that says microphone, and then you go into mode. Is this the same Michelle Mackey I would be meeting on, I don't know, at Hyde Park or something on a walk?
This is. I think I would definitely say I have a bit of a potty mouth. That obviously I'm not. Okay, I don't do that on air. I don't swear on air.
Have you ever fallen asleep on the air?
Never have fallen asleep
Peter
on
Gross
the air.
did it.
Okay. I've heard this rumor.
He came on and told the whole story. He thinks that that's part of the reason he's not there anymore.
Is he fell asleep on
Because
the
he
air?
had a really early shift. He would do sports in the morning or whatever. And I guess they threw to him or whatever, and he's asleep.
Well, listen, I think Simon Bennett is now morning sports, and they
Right.
put him pre-pandemic. I believe he was kind of in like a back room. It's quiet. It's dark. I can see how it would happen.
But he's a much younger man. You would think he'd probably be able to stay awake.
Yeah, you would think. But morning shows are a bee. They're a beast.
So many questions, so many things. But let me make a couple of declarations or
Okay.
announcements off the top here. By the way, thank you. It's good coffee. I'm sorry about the accident you
It's okay.
suffered. What was the name of the first place that you bought the coffee from, but it spilled? What was it called?
Good Neighbor, the Good Neighbor.
And okay, and north of Hyde Park. That sounds like a real estate agent talking.
That
Are we
does.
talking like Annette Street? How north
Annette.
are we going?
Wow, perfect. Yeah, Annette and Quebec.
Okay, so my teenagers, well, one is actually I'm dating with one of them's out of high school now. But I mentioned my Michelle,
Yep.
who is turning 17. She goes to Humberside Collegiate.
Oh, you're okay. I live across the road from that.
Okay,
so.
you know who lives there across the road? Scary Pete, who's also known as Pete Cunyo.
Scary Pete. What
Yeah,
a name.
sorry. The full name, I believe, is Scary Bald-Headed Pete. Shout out to him. He's a good boy as well.
Scary
Pete
bald-headed
Cunyo.
Pete.
Okay, I know this hood very well because, and this is, again, lots of shout outs here, but shout out to Joe from TO because for the first 3 years of my schooling, we're at St. Cecilia's.
Okay, is that close by? I don't
That's
know that one.
beside Annette Public School.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
So
you know the
you're
area.
on Annette and you're like east of Runnymede.
Yes. Yeah. Basically, just GPS coordinates to my home.
So stalkers, please have to edit this out. maybe,
Welcome.
but- okay. There's a lot of people there, but yeah, I know the area very, very, very well, and I like to bike Annette.
It's
It's
a
got the
great
lane
spot.
and it's not too busy.
And that's the thing too. It's kind of a nice. You're north of Bloor, south of Dundas. I run
It's a great
lot
neighborhood.
in that area.
It's really good, and I'm surprised. I mean, you must be rich. They must be paying you very well.
Oh.
That's a very expensive neighborhood.
Like no, like
Do you own your own home?
no,
Okay.
and I get so mad when I see those new real estate signs, and I haven't noticed this before, but they put a sticker on it that says sold, and then they slap a sticker that says sold over asking, and it's like we know. We know
That's right.
this. You
It's,
don't need to clarify.
It's redundant. Yeah, of course. This is a good moment for me to say that you're in a great neighborhood, but if you wanted to come, it's cooler by the lake. I always tell people that it's cooler by the lake. So you can move to Mimico, and you should
Well-
talk to Mike Majeski because if you go to realestatelove.ca, reach out to Mimico Mike, just say Toronto Mike sent you. He'll take care of you.
You know, I might actually take you up on that because my partner and I are, starting to talk about buying a house.
Why do you think I'm here?
See,
Okay?
this is it's all. It's
I
full
can't
circle.
afford Hyde Park. Okay, I'm here. No, I'm here because that area you live in now. I said I had some declarations and announcements off the top. One of which is I want to say happy anniversary to Monica. Today is our 8th wedding anniversary. So when we bought a house, which was almost 8 years ago, I'd love to be where you are, like north of Hyde Park there. But I didn't have, at that time, I needed like $1 million, right? This
Yeah.
is 8 years ago. Now I might need 3 million. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah.
But I needed $1 million, but we didn't have this money. So we ended up here because it's a great neighborhood. Love being by the lake and the trails and stuff. And it wasn't $1 million. Now it is maybe, but
Yeah.
it wasn't 8 years ago.
And it's a great spot. You have space, and my partner and I, we are in an apartment, so it would be wonderful to have a yard. I would love a dog. I'm at that stage in my life where I'm kind of thinking, let's settle down.
Really? Because
Yeah.
I have no sense of your age. I know this is the
Okay.
question you're not supposed to ask, but I have
No,
no
go
sense.
for it. I have nothing to
But
hide.
you could be anywhere from 25
Just do it.
to 37. Like you could be somewhere there.
I am almost exactly in between. I am 30 years old. Yeah,
Okay.
30. 1990 baby.
Okay, I could, honestly, if you told me you were 25, I'd have believed you. And
Thank
if you said
you.
you were 35, I would probably be, because I have I'm not good at this.
But I think that's a good thing for being on air, being on the news,
Sure,
because you
because you're evergreen.
yeah, exactly. One of my friends at the Weather Network, she looked so much older than 22, so they put her on air so young,
Right.
and now she still looks the same age. It's
And then
great.
30 years later, she's
Exactly.
still 22 years
Yeah.
old. Okay, so the two announcements I had to make. One I mentioned, of course, happy anniversary to Monica 8 years ago
Happy
today.
anniversary.
But also,
Congrats.
and I'm curious, like, where are you at with the vaccinations for COVID-19?
Yeah.
Like, where are you at, Michelle Mackey?
Okay, so I am a Pfizer girl. I am 4 weeks post Pfizer, and feeling good. I wasn't immediately
like
after.
one shot or two?
One shot.
Okay.
I just yesterday spent about an hour going old school. So I didn't use the government website. I tried that the first time, didn't work for me.
I'm hearing lots of bad stories
No,
about the government.
I didn't even touch it. It was my day off. I didn't want to ruin my day. So I signed up and I am waitlisted on, I think, about 6 different pharmacies.
It's kind of like the Hunger Games, right? Like I remember the
is.
first round. So I'm a Gen X.
Oh,
So I'm
yeah.
older than you. I got the AZ, as I call it,
Yes, the AZ.
first round because we were encouraged to get the first one we could get. And they said, okay, Gen X, go get your AZ. And I jumped on board today. So I'm going to record with you. And then I'm going to bike to the Aaron Mills Walmart, way west. I get my second shot today, but my shot will not be another AZ. It's going to be a Pfizer.
Okay.
So I'm mixing and matching because a couple of doctors I respect on Twitter said they're going to do AZ and then they're going to do Pfizer because there's some studies that are showing that for this new Delta variant, there's better coverage, higher efficacy at least with regard if you do that. So basically, I'm of the opinion get the first shot you can get. Like if I was off, so I had an appointment to get another AZ. I don't call it AZ because this is Canada.
That's right.
I had the appointment for like June 22 or something. And then my wife found a spot at Walmart for today, which is the first day I'm eligible is today. So I said, grab it. I didn't even care what it was. Like, so I am doing the mixing and matching. So I will be in the Pfizer club. So that's exciting news that this afternoon,
huge.
if all goes well, I'm going to be getting my second shot.
How did you feel after your first one? I mean, emotionally and then physically as well.
Okay. Well, emotionally, there was a good sense of relief.
Yeah.
Like I could see the end of this now. And then you just, every day when you check in at City News or 680 News, wink, wink,
wink.
That's, I check to make sure we haven't discovered like there's some variant that this doesn't work with this vaccination. But so far, so good. Like, because the goal of the vaccination is to keep you from going to the hospital with your symptoms.
Yeah.
And so far, it's holding up wonderfully against all these variants. So that's great. So I felt this great sense of relief. That's emotionally. And I remember biking home from a different Walmart where I got the first shot. Like I was flying, like, okay, there's going to be light at the end of this tunnel. I felt really good.
Yeah.
But then physically, I woke up the next morning, like feeling like a bag of shit.
Oh, yeah.
And then that next day I was just not well. Like I was not well.
Yeah.
And then that night, the second night, I had fever dreams, like chills. But then I woke up. So this is now 2 days after I woke up and then I felt fine and I felt perfectly fine. So I had like 1.5 days of like, so I don't know. I'll see how I react to this Pfizer I'm getting today. So,
okay. Yeah. I was okay. So I went to a late night clinic. I finished at City News and raced there. And I think I got my shot at 11:58 p.m., something like that. And then I was fine the next day. No symptoms. I was so arrogant and, teasing people who had symptoms. And I was like, I'm fine. The next day it hit me like a brick.
Yeah.
And I also had this, what I thought was weird at the time, I had some facial numbness.
Okay.
And then it went away, but I've been talking to a few people and apparently feeling that like pins and needles is fairly common.
And how long did that last?
Like a day.
Okay.
And it was fine. It just felt like, when you're you go to the dentist and you get something frozen and then it's coming out of the freeze.
There's that tingly.
Yeah.
Right.
But I was okay with it. I mean, I just felt like it was working. So
okay.
I was good with it.
Good.
And now I'm fine.
Awesome. The weird thing is, so that's good. Like you'll get your second jab. I get mine today. But the weird thing is somehow because of the way it worked, when my oldest actually jumped ahead of me and got his second jab yesterday.
I saw that on Twitter. How did that happen?
Because the rules are different. Like, so you only have to wait 28 days if you get Pfizer, which he got because he's a young man. And with AZ, they said you had to wait. How did it work? So 8 weeks? Yeah, 8 weeks.
Yeah.
So basically the waiting period for AZ is much longer than the waiting period for Pfizer. So even though he got his first shot after me, he was eligible for his second shot before me. So he's done. He's just got to wait that 14 days.
Wow.
And he's done. So
that must feel good as a dad.
Yeah. Well, like that's 1 of 4 though. I got lots.
Yeah, that's true.
And 2 of mine are not going to be eligible forever. Like if you have any insight as to when they think a 5-year-old and 7-year-old can get vaccinated. So I'm now trying to get, I need my oldest, my Michelle has to get eligible, get her shot. And then the last 2, I don't even think about it because it's like, we're not even talking about it. Like I don't even hear any talk about the 7-year-olds and 5-year-olds out there.
Yeah. I don't know. I know there was some rumor, if you're breastfeeding and you get a vaccine, some of the antibodies may or may not go to the baby. There's been some research about that, but who knows? It's all so new, right?
It's all very new. Speaking of new, I need to ask you right off the top, and then we're going to go more chronological. But I saw the press release that they're rebranding 680 News. So what is can you just tell me? Because I heard, what is the new, I don't even know when it starts. You'll tell me, but what will be the official handle that you'll be giving the radio station you work for?
I believe it's City News, period.
So, but will it be 680 City News? Don't you have to get the...
maybe at the start, but from what I understand is that it eventually will be City News, one, powerhouse radio, TV, content creation, which...
Well, I mean, that's the way they're going.
It is. And it's sad in a sense, right? Like the green brand, that 680 brand everyone has a memory about it. It is sad. Like, yeah.
So, okay. So I totally get, like, this is happening all over the place. Like 640 became Global News Radio, and and I don't know what they branded 1010, but I'm sure it's going to be CTV News like tomorrow or something. I don't know, but I'm not surprised by this because this is the way the world's going. But it is interesting that 680 News has been rolling off our tongue since they wrapped up Top 40 and like whatever that was, 93 or whatever. I used to listen to 680 when it was Top 40 because I listened.
Wow,
I used
you were
to wake
one of
up
the first.
Well, I was one of the last, maybe. Thanks, Michelle. Okay, I got a few years on you. But Tom Rivers was my morning show, and he was on 680 when I was a much younger man. So shout out to it was called All Hits CFTR.
Yeah. Well, I remember listening to it in the car with my dad at a very young age.
So so you're 30. So I'm doing some quick math. Yeah, you would have got a couple of years, I guess.
Before, because it was established in 93, I believe.
Right. I think so. I'm always fascinated because I've had, Evelyn Macko and some of these OGs on to talk about the switchover. But I guess I think the last song they played might have been "We Built This City on Rock and Roll" or something. And then they're all news. So they got in first. So it'll be City News. We'll have to find out if it's 680 City News or whatever. But it will be. I think it will be weird for people. It'll be a bit like, that's the Rogers Center, and they'll be like, oh, you mean Skydome? Like, there's going to be a little of that.
It's going to take time. Think about it. It's been around for almost 30 years. So it's going to take time. But I mean, the programming itself will be the exact same. The only difference really is going to be, instead of 680 News Time 105, it'll be City News Time 105. But it's going to take some time, and I wouldn't be surprised if, the anchors have some slip-ups.
Oh, for sure. When does it take effect?
I believe the fall.
Okay.
So there's some time to kind of adjust.
There'll be notes everywhere, I suppose.
Oh, for sure. I mean, it was like my very first day on 680 News, I almost slipped and said Michelle Mackey for the Weather Network.
Oh, yeah.
And one of my friends from the Weather Network was listening at the time and called me on it.
And how long were you at the Weather Network?
I was there for 5 years. It was my first kind of, foot in the door job on TV.
Sure. And that's okay. I have a clip I'm going to play, and it's going to segue nicely into a certain jam by a certain band you love. Incredible. But here's how we're going to rock. Firstly, you're not a Toronto girl. You're a Peterborough girl.
Peterborough, born and raised, baby.
Can I call it the Patch? Do you call it the
yes,
Patch?
you can. Okay. I'm impressed. Okay.
Well, my buddy Hawksley Workman lives there now, so he moved there.
Hawksley Workman. They've got a few great songs.
And somebody, I can't remember. I tweet like on anniversary of episodes. I'll be like, on this day, this guest came on, and somebody I tweeted maybe yesterday. They said, "Oh, proud Peterborough boy" or something.
Oh yeah, who was that?
I know. I should check it. I should have taken a note. And I'm like, yeah, I got a Peterborough girl coming in tomorrow. Like, I can't remember who it was, but there's a lot of good people coming out of the Patch.
It's a great city. I mean, born and raised. I had such a great childhood, and it's a great place to raise a family.
And you left it. That's how great it was.
And I left, and I'm not coming back. So shout out to Peterborough.
So do you still have family there?
I do. Yeah. My mom, dad, and sister are still there. So I'm back, I was back over the weekend for the first time in a long time.
And are they going to are you going to tell them to listen to this episode? Or are you going to wait to see how it goes?
I was preparing.
What if you bombed? Then you'd want to
Then I wouldn't tell anyone, but my parents don't even know what a podcast really is. So I'm going to be the one to send them the link.
Press play on this page. Essentially.
Yeah, exactly.
So here, actually, do you know a Robert Carnell?
Yeah. I just from Twitter, but yes.
Okay, so
great guy.
Robert just sent me a note to say that you could do an episode on Taylor Swift.
Yes.
You could kick out T Swizzle jams very easily.
I do love.
Now, the
Taylor.
jam I'm going to kick out shortly is not a Taylor Swift jam, but you do love Taylor Swift.
Oh, big time. She's my girl. Been to all the concerts, and I have to say, even during the rough years when not many people liked her, I had her back.
Is that it? Wasn't not many people. You mean when the country crowd got mad at her for going pop?
Honest. Let's be honest. Yeah,
because I just heard a podcast about this, but she was a country artist.
Mm-hmm.
Like her first song was called Tim McGraw or something.
Yeah,
like she was country,
that was a breakout.
Nashville country, and then she sort of starts crossing over. And then she's on both for a while.
Yeah, she did 1989.
Right, and then she does like a flagrantly pop album or whatever, which is like non-apology. There's no like slide guitar, there's nothing. No steel guitar or whatever. And then the country audience said like, you're dead to us, because the country audience doesn't like it when you leave them. They're very fickle about that, right?
No, and then so that she had that to deal with for the first couple years, and then the whole Kanye West thing that happened,
right?
And videos were released, and everyone called her a snake, and blah blah blah. And listen, I was with her the whole time. So if Taylor's listening,
she might be listening. So Taylor, you got a big fan here. I suspect that country music is popular in Peterborough. Am I right?
Oh, big time. I have actually just recently kind of gotten into it. But I remember at parties growing up, I'd always get so mad when country was on. It wasn't my thing. Right. But Carrie Underwood was kind of the bridge, and Carrie Underwood married to Mike Fisher, who was my neighbor growing up. So
get out of here.
Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah. I saw she was still showing up at these Predators games.
Yeah. And they still come to Peterborough every summer and stuff. So you'll see her in the Sobeys and that kind of thing. And
wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Okay. So thanks, Robert, for the question comment. Now, Asher Roth. Tell me who's, because I know Asher Roth.
Yeah, you'll recognize his voice. 680 guy. He does traffic, sports, news. He basically does everything at 680. He's like
a Swiss Army knife.
Correct.
Okay.
Does it all.
Ask her what her favorite spontaneously improvised on-air nickname was.
Okay, well, let's answer that first. Asher loves to just throw me off when he's anchoring and I'm reporting in the field. So he will often do things that will purposely make me break or crack or laugh in some way. And it was Halloween one night, and he threw to me live and said, and here's our Halloween correspondent, Monster Mash Shell. And it was just such a bad nickname that I had to address it. And then it just, it just ruins the rest of the report because I'm laughing throughout it. That's classic Asher Roth.
And also ask if her Oscar parties are pre-planned.
No.
So what does this mean? She says you'll understand. You have some epic Oscar parties?
No. Okay. 2 years ago. Oscars. I'm covering that. I'm in studio reporting on that. Asher is in the anchor chair. And again, Asher loves to throw me off by asking questions that will pull me off my script, make me laugh, etc. And he said, Michelle, do you have an Oscar party you've planned? And unfortunately, I don't know what happened. I think I meant to say Asher, but I said my ass. And then I started laughing and I had to apologize. And just the rest of the report was just in the trash can. So bad.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Now, good. Thank you, Asher,
Thanks,
for the
Asher,
twofer
so
there. Okay, so when did you, Michelle Mackey, when did you know you wanted to be on television or radio?
Oh, yeah. Probably a very young age. I loved performing. I was always that kid who, if my parents had friends over, there would be a performance of some sort.
So you're an extrovert?
Oh, yeah.
Because some people are introverted and they can present like you do. Like they actually put on a mask, but actually they're introverted. But you're like a bona fide extrovert.
Oh, full on. Yeah. And so always knew I wanted to be a performer of some sort. But there's this great quote. And it says, journalists are theater kids who can't sing. And I felt like that really spoke to me. And did my first year of university at Queen's studying drama. And I just realized very quickly that is not something I wanted to do. So I went home to Peterborough, Trent University, and started volunteering at Trent Radio. Fell in love with it. And that was kind of the beginning of my broadcast career.
How the heck do you end up in Australia?
Australia, mate. Oh, I
Very
have such
good.
a bad accent.
Better than me. You're better than me.
It's an offensive accent. So I really wanted to travel after I graduated my undergrad. And so I wanted to get my master's in journalism because by then I knew I wanted to be a journalist. And I was like, let's, feed two birds with one seed. So
that's better than killing them with a stone.
I know.
So I used to say, hey, you want to watch us record? You can watch how the sausage is made. And then I changed it to watch us bake the cake.
That's so much nicer.
I know, but that's what you just did.
I know. I made an effort to do that.
You don't want to kill birds? Why do we want to kill birds?
No.
I love birds. We're outside right now, and sometimes when I'm recording out here, I can hear bird song in the background, and I'm like, I like that. Like that's what I'm looking for. Don't throw stones at the bird.
No, we want to feed the birds. So
much better. Honestly, PETA would be proud of you.
I know. Probably wouldn't be proud of me for what I ate for dinner last night, but that's besides the point. So, went to Australia, was there for 2 years, got my master's in journalism, and was waitressing at the time and just interning here and there and doing a little bit of everything for a couple years.
That's the furthest any guest has gone to get their journalism degree or whatever.
I know.
That's a long way to go.
Yeah, but it was great. Like I felt like, in a sense I have kind of this international experience that I brought back with me when I was applying for jobs and
Sure. Okay, but if you had got like what if you had got an on-air job in Australia? You could be like an Australian media personality right now, right?
That was kind of my goal, but I was told I would never work on air because of my accent in Australia.
But we like that, don't we? I feel like we like it when you have
such a difference in Canada because we embrace accents, right?
Right.
But news in Australia is, I would say, 10 years behind where we are. It's still very traditional. You compare city news to some of the stations in Australia and it's night and day.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
I did not know that. But I do know here, I noticed I'm watching this Euro Cup. I'll watch a Euro Cup match during the day or whatever. I'll throw it on. And definitely, like, if the play-by-play person has like a British accent or it just seems better somehow.
I love it. I love it.
I know.
And I get asked sometimes because I started a TikTok account a few months ago and it's all these young kids who ask the questions. And a lot of someone asked me a question, why do you have to talk that way? And I think I just do kind of talk in this newsy voice day to day.
I had to be educated because years ago, Siobhan Morris. Do you know Siobhan Morris?
Yes.
Who, by the way, now lives in Barrie because she's on CTV Barrie. But she lived near Annette and Runnymede.
Oh, did she really?
Yeah, near the church.
That's right. You know what? I
St.
think
Cecilia's
I saw
Church.
on her Twitter once that she commented about something in the Junction.
Right.
And I really wanted to be her friend for a long time. And then she moved to Barrie and I missed that
I could hook you
opportunity.
up. Her dad built the House of Rock, the White House of Rock at Hits F97.7 in St. Catharines.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
That's so
Paul
random.
Morris. So I've had
Okay.
her dad on the show.
What?
But she's been on a couple of times. I quite like her. But at the beginning, I thought she was putting on some kind of a phony reporter voice when she was on the air, and she explained that she was enunciating, which I know nothing about.
Well, when I first started at the Weather Network, one of the things, shout out to Derek Snyder. Oh,
it's okay. You know what? That's Bojana mowing the lawn. That's okay.
Oh, good times.
It's good just because these are unidirectional mics, so it won't be
okay. I'll go more.
It's okay. It's okay.
But Derek Snyder was the first guy who hired me, in part, at the Weather Network. And
shout out to Bojana.
Yeah, that's right.
Honestly, she's 85 years old. She mows. That's not her lawn.
Oh, bless her heart. She's 85.
Yeah, and she mows that lawn every week. And it's not. That's not her lawn. And once I was recording have you ever heard a Pandemic Friday episode of Toronto?
Yeah.
Because a lot of listeners I noticed. So some people once you're in on the Pandemic Friday, you're hooked or whatever.
Yeah.
But I talk to people who love the show. They like the cherry pick based on guest, and they've never tried a Pandemic Friday. And I'm like, we have 65 of these golden nuggets just sitting there for free. Try one, and if you don't like it, don't try anymore. But anyway, one day we were recording, and then Bojana was on a ladder, cleaning out the gutters. She's super. I know
Bless
she
her
can't hear us
heart.
because she's Superwoman. She's unbelievable.
85,
Yeah.
and it's not even her own.
It's not even her lawn.
lawn.
And there, I know there's a young man who lives there, because the son lives there. So there's a healthy, able-bodied 30-year-old maybe living there, but still, I know because I think she likes it.
Okay, I hope so. I mean,
well, they're not. Like,
I would feel so bad if I was the son.
I know, but I don't know this for sure.
kid.
But I'm sure, yeah, the kid. I'm sure there was a conversation, and she was like, "I like to do it."
Okay,
I'm sure that happened.
Yeah, I'm sure. What was I saying? I get so sidetracked.
I know if you've ever, as you know, there's tangents galore on this program. We easily distracted by Bojana mowing the lawn.
But that's the fun of it, and that's what makes this so great. Is we go here, there, and everywhere.
I can't remember what you were talking about now, but you're in us. You came back from Australia, so let me pick it up there.
Oh.
And if it comes back to you, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, here it is. Yeah, so when I was hired at the Weather Network, one of the people who hired me, Derek Snyder, gave me this great piece of advice about being yourself on air and off air, and I would talk too fast when I was on air, and I wouldn't enunciate. So I started doing it in my everyday life.
Oh. Okay, I should try that. Okay.
Yeah, just do that in your everyday life. And,
right.
And, you know, rather than saying I was running. Like I always enunciate now.
Okay, if my name was, I'm going to spell my first name.
Okay.
It's not really my, but Martin. Say that name for me.
Martin.
Okay, so forever I would say Martin.
Martin.
Like it was Din.
But then there's Toronto, which is like Toronto.
Right. And
So
do you, are there rules at 680 or City News on how to say the name of our city?
No, I think I have heard a couple of newer reporters call it Toronto, and I think I probably did it first.
But you know,
too.
the Caribbean community nails that second T. Like this is why whenever once in a while, you know what it was? Jamar O'Neill, or is it McNeil? I should know this. Jamar O'Neill. Oh my goodness, I can't remember. Okay, but Jamar, who took Roger Ashby's spot on Chum, okay, on radio, alongside Marilyn Dennis.
Oh yeah,
okay, you might have heard of her.
Oh yeah,
so when he got to the city, he would say Toronto, and people were giving him flack. Like he came over and we talked about it. I never give him flack. I would never give you flack. Because as I understand from my Caribbean friends, they do hit that second T. Like it's yeah, like Toronto. Like there's a toe.
Okay.
So to me, it's really like offensive almost to basically complain about how somebody said the word Toronto. Like, oh, we don't say the second T. It's like,
here's the thing.
Go F yourself.
Here's the thing.
Okay, go.
You will never, ever be forgiven if you mispronounce someone's city name. And so I was once on, because when we were at the Weather Network, we would also do CBC News,
the weather. Yes.
And so I was on with Heather Hiscox in the morning. I mean, so I have to name drop that. Come on.
No, I do a lot of name dropping.
Okay.
Too.
Oh, good.
I
Okay.
like
So we're allowed to do that here. Okay. So
allowed to. I encourage it.
Oh,
This is not I'm not owned by a cable company. I want you to name drop like
okay.
crazy.
We're name dropping. There we go. And so it was after Oprah. Or no, it was Whoopi Goldberg in a comedy show said, shout out to Moncton, Ontario, but she meant Moncton, New Brunswick.
Right.
And so the producers were like, here's this great idea. Why don't you make up a fake forecast from Moncton, Ontario, even though it doesn't exist?
Right.
Turns out I went on air, did like, oh, it's 75 degrees. Moncton, Ontario doesn't even exist. Ha, ha, ha.
Right.
Yeah, it does. Very small town in southwestern Ontario, Moncton, and so that didn't go great. Didn't go well.
Yeah, no. Shout out to Whoopi Goldberg.
Yeah, and Moncton, Ontario.
Moncton, Ontario.
So sorry.
I've been to Moncton, New Brunswick.
Yeah.
I walked on the ocean floor because that's where the Bay of Fundy has that big tide.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I did that. I'm gonna say Morgan was alive, so I'm gonna say that was 4 years ago now.
4 years ago.
4 years ago. Shout out to Moncton, New Brunswick. Okay. So, and did you know Maestro Fresh West now lives in St. John, New Brunswick? Like this is where he lives now.
No.
And he was Mr. 416, Mr. Toronto. Yeah.
Why did he move to? Okay.
He thought it was a good move for his son.
Okay, fair.
They weren't as locked down as you might have heard, although we're coming open now. But anyway, that's a fact. He came on the show and talked about it. So, real quick here, you did return. So the plan was after you're in Australia, you did return. Did you return and then get the job at the Weather Network, or did you get the job at the Weather Network and then return?
Yes, I got.
Which one?
Yes to just a generic yes. So came back, was jobless for about 3 months, and I was applying everywhere. You know, Yorkton, Saskatchewan, Edmonton, Alberta. Was willing to go anywhere, and then I got a job offer up in Sudbury, Ontario. And I had also just had the interview for the Weather Network, but I hadn't heard back. But I had such a good feeling about the Weather Network.
Right.
I don't suggest to young people getting into the industry to do this, but I said no to Sudbury on a whim that I would get the Weather Network. And a day later, I got the Weather Network.
Oh my goodness. Okay, that's exciting. So you're at, and what is your job at the Weather Network off the hop here? Like, is it like, are you going to be an on-air person? You're hired to be an on-air Weather Network
started as,
person?
an on-call fill-in weather presenter.
Okay. Do you get like a crash course in meteorology?
Big time.
Because I want to bring up a guy. Actually, I'll bring him up later.
Okay.
Who has been over and was a meteorologist where you work. Okay. So, and I don't understand his new job, but that's another story. We'll talk about that. So you're at the Weather Network and you're on air. And tell me how you become like Michelle Mackey. How do you become a weather specialist? Well,
the first thing is like you really do have to go above and beyond the crash course they give you. They're going to give you all of the information, but unless you study it and are passionate about it, it's not going to go anywhere. And, we've seen people at the Weather Network who come in who really don't care about weather, who maybe only want to be on air, and they don't last because you're ad-libbing everything. You have to know weather like the back of your hand, whether you are a meteorologist or not.
Right. Now, just to go back to something that we were tripping on earlier, FOTM Moose Grumpy, who's also from Peterborough, by the way.
Okay. FOTM?
FOTM means friend of Toronto Mike.
Okay.
You're now an FOTM. That is true. That happened. That's true.
I've always wanted to be like the friend of a pod.
You are an FOTM. And
That's huge. Okay.
I got an answer on who the other FOTM was who had his anniversary episode and is from Peterborough. Sean Cullen. He's a comedian. He was in Corky and the Juice Pigs, I believe was his.
Yes.
Sean Cullen is from Peterborough. Very funny man.
See, we produce some good people.
No, I mean, I'm Mike Fisher and Michelle Mackey and Sean Cullen and Moose Grumpy. There's some, and Hoxley's not from there. He's from Huntsville, I think. Actually. Okay. But he lives there, which is good enough. So thank you, Moose Grumpy, for filling in the blanks there because my mind could not come up with that name. Okay, so you're at the Weather Network. Do you want to shout out some people who helped you out at the Weather Network?
Oh, yeah. I mean, Peter Bossanov was my boss. He gave me kind of...
That's a good name for a boss. Like, his name should be Peter Bossanov.
Bossanov. Yeah, just like the nicest guy, and Derek Snyder. And they just both took me under their wings. And, Derek was an executive producer, and he would pull me into his office every week, and we would watch my hits, and we would go over what I did right, what I did wrong, and it changed, like it just helped me more than anything else.
Okay.
And so shout out to Derek Snyder.
Derek Snyder.
Yeah.
Okay. And Kim McDonald, how long has she been there?
Oh my gosh, she's a legend. She's been there for I think 20 plus years.
Okay, so she's friends with my dear friend, Sweet Rosie, who was actually at the Weather Network for many, many years, but hasn't been there in a long time. But she's friends with Kim. And I can't remember how it came. And Twitter, Kim said she'd come on Toronto Mike, but then when I wrote her to like, hey, let's book it, she ghosted me. So shout out to Kim McDonald. So
Kim McDonald, she is very funny, dry sense of humor.
Right.
And I remember I was very nervous meeting her because she had been there for so long, and she is just so welcoming and very funny, which I didn't see coming.
I'm going to play a clip of you at the Weather Network, and then we're going to play a song, and then we're going to talk about City News and 680, and I got lots of other things I need to talk to you about, so I hope you don't have any appointments in the next half an hour. But I'm going to give you some gifts first, because I mentioned you're an FOTM now. Okay, so I have a Palma Pasta lasagna for you. But that's an empty box, because I didn't want to like leave it out here in the sun or whatever. But it's in my freezer.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much.
That's empty, Mike. What are you doing? Palma Pasta, they're good people. And they have a sale going on apparently because Garnet Barnsdale's off today to buy there's some big sale going on there. But Palma Pasta, go to palmapasta.com. There's fresh craft beer from a local brewery here. We have, that's Great Lakes Brewery. In fact, I put 3 on the table, but I've got more for you in the fridge. So you're bringing home some fresh craft beer.
That is fantastic. Thank you so much.
And you'll love it. I don't know if you've ever tried Great Lakes before.
I've never tried it.
Do you drink beer at all? It's okay if you don't, but maybe your partner does.
I've heard it, mentioned here.
Okay. You'll love it, honestly.
I'm so excited.
That octopus wants to fight.
It does. I'm a little terrified, but that's great.
Octopus wants to fight. There's a Toronto Mike sticker for you on that box of Palma Pasta.
Oh, come on.
That's from stickeru.com. They're in Liberty Village, but they're online. StickerU.com. Get your
That's
decals. Get your they're good people too.
This is a high quality sticker.
Yeah, well, honestly, I have some Toronto Mike stickers I put on things like bikes and stuff years ago. Still look good. So yeah, high quality sticker. Get your stickers from StickerU.com. And last but not least, there is a bottle of like hand sanitizer on the table, and that's courtesy of Ridley Funeral Home. They're pillars of this community as well. So much love to the good people at Ridley Funeral Home, especially Brad Jones. But yeah,
I've got to say, funeral homes, I think some of the nicest people on the planet work at funeral homes.
Because they have to be compassionate.
And it's amazing. I don't think I could do that job.
Did you notice it got quiet? Because Bojana's done. She's so fast. That's efficiency.
That's
right there.
5-year-old woman.
Yeah.
Goals.
I know. And she's amazing. But yeah, the people at a funeral home have to be compassionate, right? Because you're dealing with people at their most vulnerable. They've lost a loved one. And you can't, that's not for everybody, but this is a family-run funeral home. And if you have any, questions or concerns about anything in that world, you can just have a chat with the aforementioned Joe from TO, who went to St. Cecilia's with me. That's how far back we go. Sadly, like a 6-year-old student, he's a teacher, Joe. Mm-hmm. A 6-year-old student passed away.
Oh, jeez.
And the family they're new Canadians, no money, didn't know what to do. And Joe had a conversation with Ridley Funeral Home, and they don't profit off children's death. Like this is like some code of the funeral home industry or whatever. And Joe couldn't believe how, it's like, oh, how did they get there? They don't have a car. They go pick you up and they take it. It was unbelievable. Joe's going to come in and tell the story. But yeah, shout out to the good people at Ridley Funeral Home.
Truly, I really do mean that. I think they are some of the kindest people on the planet.
Oh, absolutely. But if you use that hand sanitizer, you won't require their services for a very, very long time. Okay, that's all set now. Okay, so why do you leave? Oh, I'm going to play the clip. And then we're going to find out why you would ever leave the Weather Network. And here, let me see here. So this is you on the Weather Network, Michelle.
Okay. It's time now for your morning report. Here's a look at what you'll be waking up to across the country. We are expecting a little rain in the prairies. Not the kind of day you want to be wearing that leather jacket. The story in Ontario, the heat. Maybe a good day to get some lemonade from the store for the afternoon, join a book club, stay inside. That heat warning includes Lakefield, where my sister went to private school. Stateside, Nashville at 90 degrees. The risk is there for some thunderstorms. A similar forecast in through Memphis, home of Drakestad. But drive me back to Hamilton. You'll be waking up to sunshine and temperatures in the 20s. Hamilton, of course, home to the Arkells, and they'll be joining us right here on the Weather Network Thursday morning.
Okay, so you dropped a lot of Arkells references there.
Many. We got very subtle, song names. We've got, some lyrics in there.
Right. Drake's dad, yeah. But the first one you dropped there sounded like Leather Jacket.
Oh, yeah.
Now, so I got many questions, and I'm going to play some Leather Jacket. Yes. But when did you fall in love with the Arkells?
Wow, it's kind of a funny story. I was dating. I did.
You were dating somebody in the Arkells.
Not in the Arkells, but I went on
a roadie.
I went on Tinder. Okay, when I first got to Toronto as a single lady, and I went on a few dates with a guy who said he was friends with the Arkells. He is friends with the Arkells, and I hadn't really heard of them, but I started listening to their music. And so long after, it didn't work out with this friend of the Arkells.
Right.
I just fell in love with their music, and it kind of became the soundtrack to my life, and I've loved them ever since.
Okay, well, you could do so much worse. This is a great band. I'm thinking that when you were dating that guy on Tinder, that was like the boss is coming time. Like that's when
it was Leather Jacket time.
Okay, well, let's play a bit of that, and then we'll keep talking here.
Before it showed up, they tell them to me and pull photos up, and they're connected like a pair of handcuffs. No one seemed affected, that everyone is fucked. But there was a softness, some kind of understanding. Those two indecisions, always shaky landings, and no one ever knew what could be demanded. Maybe it's the card that she was handed. Call me up from a payphone. I said, hang tight, I can drive you home. I put on up and with a southern accent, I offered you my dad's leather jacket.
you know what? Good, right? Good stuff. Yeah, very good. Very good. That's a lot of pressure for them, but some are sort of anointing them like the heir apparent to the Tragically Hip. I feel like that's an unfair. It's like when Sidney Crosby was a kid and they're like, oh, here's the next great one. I don't think that's fair.
No, and I think I listened to a podcast that they're on. It's called Mike on Much. Great podcast.
Yeah,
Shout
I've
out.
heard of this. Sure.
Yeah. So really good podcast. And I think they've mentioned it before. And, they're really humble guys. And I think they are very honored by that. But yeah, they're humble, and I think they're maybe the best. This is a big call, but I think they're the best singer-songwriter band of our generation in Canada. So,
wow, okay, and they're a Hamilton band.
Hamilton boys, yeah.
Cool.
And,
so that Tinder date changed your music.
It did. It really did. So, shout out to.
Did you get your current partner?
Yeah.
Did you meet this person? I don't gender. I don't know.
Neil Osborne. Yeah, him
from the 5440.
Yeah, he not him though. So
does he know he shares a name?
He does, and so a few years ago he started
Osborne.
Including his middle name and everything.
He's an FOTM, Neil Osborne, as well. So.
Oh wow! Okay, well Neil Ever Osborne is my partner.
Wow!
And so we've been together for 3 years. And when I left the Weather Network, he got a job at the Weather Network.
Wow!
So he's now head of their climate department.
Okay. Do his friends call him Ozzy?
Yes, Ozzy. Yeah, he has some weird names. And I was just about to drop some pet names. I'm not doing that.
The Wizard of Oz?
Yeah. Hey, that's good. But Ozzy is the classic. Yeah.
And at the Weather Network, when there's a big snowstorm, it's the Blizzard of Oz.
Oh, well done.
That's what I do.
Okay. I see what you did there.
Okay, so this is the gentleman who's moving to Mimico with you.
Yeah.
You're not in Mimico right now. I feel I need to tell you
Where are
that.
we right now?
New Toronto.
Where am I?
This is New Toronto. So, nestled between Long Branch to the west and Mimico. Mimico's a panhandle. Mimico's a panhandle. So Mimico's to the north and to the east of where you are now, which is called New Toronto.
Okay, New Toronto. I like it here.
Yeah, honestly, I'll tell you what. That shed there, we can. I guess we got to get a little plumbing in there, some electricity in there, and maybe
for
you guys
just $3,000 a month.
I'll rent.
Could be yours.
That's right. We'll see what we can do. But yeah, shout out to Mimico Mike, who we talked about earlier. Yeah. But you're at the City News and 680. Did you get that gig and then quit the Weather Network, or what happened here?
Yeah, so I had a couple of friends, Jamie Pulfer and Jeff Rahoman, who I had, just kind of. Jamie was a good friend of Neil's, and Jeff I had met at a couple.
I can't believe you're dating Neil Osborne.
The Neil Osborne.
The Neil Osborne's daughter, Candle. Very good musician.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well,
Candle with a K.
I mean, come on. She has to be famous.
She's very good.
That's
She's
a great
very
stage
good.
name, too.
Candle Osborne.
I love that. So, yeah, I met them, and Jeff had been kind of bugging me for a while. When are you going to come to 680? And finally, I sent him an email and said, okay, give me Amber LeBlanc's email. She's our news director.
Oh.
And so I emailed her, came in for what I thought was just a chat about future opportunities. It was a full-blown interview, and I had to do an audition.
But you'd be very good in an interview. You know how I can tell just from our what have we spent an hour together that you would be great in an interview because
I get very nervous.
Good energy.
I was very nervous for today. I get very nervous when people ask me the questions. I'm good at asking questions, not always answering them.
Mm-hmm.
So that one was great because I didn't know it was an interview going into it, so I didn't have time to get nervous.
Right.
I thought it was a meeting.
No anxiety.
Yeah, it was fine.
Pre-interview.
Okay.
And
so I nailed it, I think.
So does that come is that a package now? Like, okay, 680 has to also be City News. Like, how does it work? Because one's a radio station, and I know some people I know, Richard Southern, you can see him on both or here in Sarah. But sometimes, I don't think Carl Hansky's ever on City News. Am I wrong?
He does breakfast television. So he does.
Yeah, okay.
It's early though, so
shout out to Sid 60.
Yeah,
who's never been on the show.
You should get him on.
I think many years ago he just didn't reply to my emails or something, so I just didn't.
I really like him. I think he's a good
he's an
BC.
obvious. He's a lot of people are like, how come Sid hasn't been on? I don't have a good answer. I don't have a no from him. I just have nothing from him.
Okay.
But it's definitely not that I haven't asked him. So
yeah,
it's possible I'm ending up in spam or something. But like, how do you, once you send an email and you don't hear back, like what's your, what do you do? Like,
Well, I go public on Twitter. That's what I do. If I don't hear an email from someone, that actually happened a little while ago. I was covering a story on MPP Randy Hillier.
Oh yes, he's problematic.
Yeah, and so he wasn't getting back to my emails, and I just knew if I publicly tweeted at him, he would get back to me. With,
but you got a weight of like a Rogers Media behind you, whereas I have, what do I have behind me?
You got
the
like
TMBS
9,000
backyard
followers.
studio. Oh, I know.
No, you're good. You're doing just fine.
and at least, unlike some clients of mine, all 9,000 are real human beings.
That's right.
As far as I know, I have never purchased a follower. So shout out to me. Okay,
There you go.
so you got a gig, and then you had to say goodbye to the Weather Network.
Yeah.
Was that difficult after 5
it was
years?
so hard because like the Weather Network is very family oriented. It feels like kind of a small.
It's in Oakville.
It's in Oakville,
right?
and
Yeah.
it was where I got my start, and I was so comfortable there, and I had some seniority after 5 years, and I was
Sure.
taking a risk to just leave that, and I was full time, Monday to Friday, great vacation, and all that, and it was like, okay, bye.
And did they do a cake?
Oh, they did a full-on brunch. So I did the morning show that day, and then we finished around 9. And
Because they like you. I'm sure if you were a jerk, maybe you would just
Maybe
get
not.
like a card or
a
something.
card
Did you get like gift cards for the keg?
for the keg.
Like, did anyone give you a gift card for the keg? Like,
No, I'm trying to think.
Okay. 'Cause I think Ann Romer got several keg gift cards when she.
I know it was
and
there
several
was a lot
cakes
of
as
food.
well.
There was a lot of food, and then it was pre-pandemic, so I think we went out for dinner,
of
probably
course.
something like that.
Right.
But then I transitioned pretty quick. I remember my last day was on a Monday, and I was on air at 680, I think, on a Thursday.
And how are things going at City News and 680 News, which will soon be known as City News, just to confuse us?
Yeah, exactly. No, I love it. I mean, I've never been happier. I like being able to do both TV, radio, weather, news, a little bit of everything each week.
Right.
Like there's no set schedule necessarily. I never know where I'm going to be. And I like that. I don't like I find same thing every day almost a little boring for me.
And how is this strategy going? Like post, and this is before your time, of course, but post Gord Martineau, like there's not really a anchor face of the news, right?
Yeah.
Like, how's that going?
Like it's
not that you could be 100% honest with me, but that's a tough question.
No, that's okay. Well, I mean, at 680, you got like Catherine Gishay and Paul Cook in the mornings, who are, everyone knows and loves. But I think I heard a rumor. Listen to me talking about rumors. I'm just outing things. I think I heard a rumor that once we become City News, there might be more of a push for personalities to kind of be back in the spotlight on the 680 side, maybe. I'm not 100% sure, but at City News, I like the format of not necessarily having an anchor. I think it's much more new age to just throw to the next person, to the next person, to the next person.
Right.
Almost like kind of a YouTube playlist.
And much like I noticed with the award shows, they've been no more like Billy Crystal host or whatever.
I hate that though. I gotta be honest. I do like the host. We need an Oscars host.
Well, we need Ricky Gervais to host them all. I think
all of them moving forward.
Shout out to Ricky Gervais. So you're at 6. Okay, I have a question about. It's from Tim Nash. So Tim Nash says, do weather reporters have a responsibility to educate people about climate change? This is the tough question that you were worried about now.
Yes.
How does she, that's you by the way, approach this often sensitive topic?
Ooh, that's a
good
great
question, right? Tim Nash, shout out to Tim Nash.
Well, first of all, Tim, yes, we absolutely do have a responsibility, a profound responsibility, because we see climate change reflected in everyday weather. And that in itself is kind of a gap to bridge this really sensitive topic. And I think also one way to talk about it is find common ground and be solutions oriented. I think people don't want to hear about the doom, the gloom, the impending disaster. They want to know what they can do, what is working, and how we can have a hopeful future. And so Neil at the Weather Network, Ozzy, my boy, they have found that these solutions-based stories perform much better than the doom and gloom. People seem to respond better to that.
I think that's a great approach. Now, Dr. Diane Sachs is a client of mine, and she's got a great podcast called Green Economy Heroes, where she's kind of doing that, like, because, you know, she was the environmental commissioner for this province. Like, she's been very clear about the dire consequences if we do nothing right now. But what she's decided to focus on is those Canadians who are starting businesses. Like, these will be businesses that will, you know, generate revenue and profit and stuff, but they're green focused. So it is for a greater, it's a solution. These are solutions. So, and she's been doing that for over a year now at Green Economy Hero, shining a light on these Canadians. And I like that approach. Like you said, instead of just coming on and saying your grandchildren are going to, this is what their world will be like.
Yeah.
This is like, you know what I mean? And if we do nothing, your grandchildren will be like on fire. So
and I think
you're
we
right.
all know
That's
that.
tough. It's tough.
Yeah. And we, listen, it's still very important to cover forest fires and floods. Like, we always will do that. But people want to know what they can do, little micro things every day. And that's really important for, you know, on-air weather specialists and meteorologists to I think help people understand.
And again, for the record, you are not a meteorologist.
No.
That's like this is because, I mean, shout out to Adam Stiles. This is the guy I want to bring up here because Adam's been over. He's got like letters after his name.
Oh, I know. He's a legend.
Like, he's a meteorologist.
Yeah. He knows, like, he can look at a weather model and know what's going to happen 5 days out from one model.
I'm glad you said it. So why the heck is he now like in recruitment or whatever? Like, what's going on with Adam Stiles?
I don't know what happened. Like, I don't know.
This guy, he's American who came here with all the credentials. Like, we talked about you weather specialists, you know, you're not meteorologists. Like, there's a difference. And now he's like, I don't know, it sounds like he's in HR.
Yeah, I think he's in some sort of management position at Sportsnet.
Right.
But he'd be a really good manager. Like, I feel like he's nice, but he's not afraid to tell people, you know, smarten up. And so I think it's a good move for him.
So he got kicked upstairs. Is this what happened to Adam Stiles? Like, because I'm curious. You would know, right? Because Adam Stiles was the meteorologist at City News.
But no, I believe it was, you know, his own choice because they filled his spot with Natasha Ramsahai.
Okay, so well, I hope it was his choice. That's for sure. But I mean, it's a good move for him if that's what he wants to do.
Yeah.
But just wanted to.
And I mean, better hours too, to be honest. Like, when you're doing that city shift, you're working, it's 3 to midnight. So I think his new role, I would imagine, is more of a 9 to 5. I could be wrong because it's sports, maybe a little bit later, but.
Right. So much love to FOTM, Adam Stiles.
That's right.
Who loves his Great Lakes beer. He's a big
he's
a big craft beer guy.
Okay.
Like, this is a huge passion. He's huge passion of his.
I think he owns a restaurant.
Subsequent to his appearance, he has started maybe a craft brewery or something.
Yeah, I think you're right.
He's a big craft brewery guy.
Yeah, you're right. So he trained me up when I started at City News, so I got a chance to spend a few days with him.
Awesome. Okay, so we're gonna pivot here.
Okay.
But do you want to name check anybody at City News? Like, just maybe anybody who is awesome there. I know this won't be like one of those things where you didn't name somebody that means you think they're an asshole or whatever.
No,
but
that's okay.
Do you want to name check anybody at City News or 680 here before I pivot you?
Well, I'm gonna drop Mark McAllister because I just met him a couple weeks ago, and I mean, he's been on there forever. Like, I remember watching him when I was young. And so I was up in the weather center and he popped up because he was doing a segment out on the patio and I was working away and he said, "Oh, hi, Michelle." And I was like, "Oh my God, you know my name." What? Anyways, lovely guy, super humble and just great at his job. So big fan of him at City News. Natasha Ramsahai obviously is an idol of mine. And at 680, there's too many, but I think Jeff Rehoman is, you know, is my top guy. Big fan of Jeff Rehoman.
Speaking of McAllister, Billy Joe McAllister jumped off the Tallahatchie Bridge. Okay, this is the that reference. I know you're very young. I'm very young for that too, but that is a reference to. I better clue you in a bit, but that is a reference to Ode to Billy Joe.
Okay.
Which when you go home and listen to Ode to Billy Joe, you can thank me later.
Okay,
it was a #1 hit. I believe it's a Billboard #1 hit. Like, this is not an obscure song at all.
Okay.
Bobby Gentry. Honestly, what a song. And that's like the big hook in the opening
Okay.
stanza.
I will.
Billy Joe McAllister jumped off the Tallahatchie Bridge. So you can later,
Hey,
you and Ozzy can listen to that tonight. You can thank me later.
Okay.
All right. Let's talk about you being a mental health advocate.
Yeah. I'm an open book. Ask away.
Well, I guess my first question is, what prompted you to become a mental health advocate?
Yeah. Well, when I was in high school, I started to develop symptoms of an eating disorder. And eventually that turned into 7 years of battling anorexia. And so when and the turning point really was when I started working at the Weather Network. I really got healthy. I got a therapist. I, gained a healthy amount of weight. And I just reflected on that a few years after I felt like I was in a place of recovery and was like, what if I can use my platform to help other young girls and boys kind of get through this? And so I started dabbling with the Canadian Mental Health Association, doing a couple small talks here and there. And it seemed to help a couple people. And so I just decided to keep going with it and share my story and inspire other people to, recovery is possible.
Well, I think talking about it is a big deal, especially removing the stigma, because like to be specific here, I'm going to drill in a bit. So anorexia nervosa, is this,
yes.
Okay, this is basically like a mental illness where you see yourself as fat, regardless of any metrics regarding obesity of any sorts. Like, and we always, you always hear these tragic stories about somebody who, when you might look at them, you think they look skeletal, for example.
Yes.
But they look in the mirror and they think they're fat.
Yeah. So that happens for me. I never looked in the mirror and saw myself as fat, especially when I started losing weight. It just became this all-consuming, almost addiction to losing weight.
So is this where you would basically like count calories?
Every single thing on my plate, I would count. I just kept reducing and working out to an extreme weigh scale every day. And, then that progresses to cutting out meals. It really is an addiction. It gives you a high when you lose this weight, and in the most unhealthy possible way.
Oh my goodness. Right. And I mean, good on you though for seeking help and recovering.
Yeah. And
is it like being an alcoholic where you can you don't drink anymore, but you are always an alcoholic? Like,
correct. Always. So it's like, it's the strangest thing, because with alcoholism and drug addiction, you just never touch that again. You can't, or else you relapse. But with food, you still have to eat to survive.
That is true.
So it's a really weird thing, because you have to train yourself to learn how to eat again, to learn when you're full, to learn your hunger cues. And I found for me, I was obsessed with food. I was obsessed with losing weight. And it wasn't until I gained a healthy amount of weight that I started thinking logically about food again.
And what is that logic now? Is it just essentially that you require this fuel? And
yes, and
it's like putting gas in the car.
Put gas in the car. I look at it as like a way to get strong. And if I ever have kids, I think that's how I'm going to raise them, as a way, like, we eat food to be strong and healthy.
Sure. And
we work out to do the same thing, not to lose. But it's hard. I mean, we live in a culture that is very diet focused. And
it doesn't help. I would get, because I follow you on social media, and I mean, you are, like I said, you're in people's living rooms at night. Like, there's Michelle, and you'll be delivering, I don't know, weather forecast or something on City News, right? And now you're in, and I know people who are like, is this person pregnant? Like, I get these notes, like, as if I mean, Toronto Mike has been around a long time, since, like, decades. When am I TMZ? Like, is somebody, I don't touch this with a 10-foot pole. Like, I don't know if this person is pregnant, and I don't care. I hope they want to be pregnant if they're, I don't know. I have nothing to do with it. But this happened to somebody recently at CTV Toronto News, a weather person. Yeah. And I was getting all these notes. I see a bump in their belly. Like, I'm like,
was it Lindsay Morrison? Yes. She is pregnant, by the way.
Okay, so I did learn that. So good. She took Dana Levinson's spot.
Yes.
Who was doing that for 19 years.
Yes.
Shout out to Dana Levinson, who's I work with her every week. She's fantastic.
She's fantastic. Yeah, she's great.
On the DL, Dana Levinson. She's great.
DL.
Okay. Yes, on the DL. For Dana Levinson and DL. See, it works both ways. Very clever here. So, it must be, what I'm saying is that people can be like so rude.
Oh my
especially on
gosh.
Twitter and stuff. Like, do you ever
Yeah.
get, like, so you're so exposed,
Yeah.
and then people are assholes. So this is a particularly tough
It's
spot for you.
Yeah, and I feel like there's also this weird thing too of like skinny shaming. Like I find more than
She's too skinny, like that.
She's just eat something,
Right.
eat a burger.
I lost some weight years ago, and I was getting like,
Yeah.
you look like you have cancer.
And it's like, what is the difference between that and telling
Right.
someone they're fat?
Right.
There's no like, don't shame. Period. Don't
Right.
don't even go there. But the thing I always tell myself.
Right.
Whenever I get a mean comment like that is I literally could not do the job I love if I was sick again. Like I couldn't physically or emotionally do it. So that's kind of what pushes me through. And I still see a therapist and all that. Just like it's important to celebrate the wins as much as it is to talk about your issues. So.
Okay, here's a question, a Twitter question.
Yeah.
Are your DMs open, or like, do you need to? And no, I'm just curious.
I recently opened them on Twitter because I found sometimes you get good news tips.
Right.
So I recently did that. And so far, Twitter has been fine.
Right.
I had an incident on TikTok recently, which got very mean and ruthless. This was my personal crisis. So last week, I did a little Twitter or a TikTok video asking people why they don't put mufflers on their cars. Because every time I was live on air at Young Dundas, someone would like rev an engine and I was getting so mad about it.
Right.
So anyways, I was like, what's the point? Why do you not put a muffler on your vehicle? Anyways, it went viral in the car community. And I was, it was just a little joke, but the amount of comments, they were so ruthless.
Oh, yeah.
Very sensitive topic, apparently.
You struck a nerve, I think.
I struck a nerve, but, like it was just, so I'm not going to touch the muffler situation ever again.
You learned a valuable lesson.
I learned a very valuable lesson.
So if somebody is listening and they think they might have an issue with anorexia or even what is the like umbrella term, like eating disorders? I suppose,
eating
right?
disorders.
Like they could DM you.
Oh my gosh, absolutely, 100%, and that does happen sometimes. And my DMs are open. I will respond.
Like that is huge. So remind us, even though I'm going to say it in a minute in the outro, but it's Michelle Mackey. Is that the
just my name on Twitter? Mackey.
Okay, but I think that's awesome. Like if anyone listening, even if you know somebody or whatever, just you could have a confidential chat with Michelle here
anytime,
because you're a mental health advocate, which is awesome, by the way. So
thanks.
Kudos to you,
Thank you
because
so much.
I think it's good to see somebody who's battled eating disorder that you can confide in and kind of get some help, like some direction and
I found
assistance.
like when I was suffering, I didn't have that person.
Right.
It was missing. I didn't have anyone I idolized who I saw as being outspoken. I remember at the time, Mary Kate Olsen had anorexia and went to treatment, but never spoke publicly about it. And that's fine.
Also, she might not answer your DM.
She might not answer your DM as well. But I just thought I really wanted to see someone outspoken about it when I was sick. So hopefully I can be that.
Okay,
good.
Good for you. Where do you see yourself? This is like my final curiosity question. So you're happy as you said you were as happy as you've ever been.
Yeah.
And you're 30 years old now.
Yep.
You're on City News. You're on 680 News. And like, what is the longer term? Like, where do you see yourself in like 5 to 10 years? Do you want to be the anchor?
Yeah, it depends. I mean, I really like being out in the field when it comes to news. I want to be kind of on the front lines of things that are happening actually in it. I don't know if that's going to change when I get a bit older, but for now, my dream is to be some sort of content creator, an umbrella term where it could be TV, radio, digital. I do it all.
You're a storyteller.
Yeah.
Welcome to the club. This is all I'm trying to do is just share stories and tell stories. Yes. Okay.
Exactly.
So, and do you like the weather part? Like that's a part of the role is to kind of be a weather specialist. Is that a part, like, is that still exciting and interesting to you?
Yeah.
Or would you like possibly meteor, not meteor. That would be
meteor.
meteor subject matter. to sink your teeth into? More nourishment on that front? Or
Yeah, I looked into going to school for meteorology, but I spent all my money on that damn master's degree. So it's kind of like I'm very passionate about it, and I would never want to not double negative, never want to not do weather in some capacity. So I always want to hold on to that for my entire career, even if it's just fill in on, when people are away.
Well, I think you're very good because this was originally scheduled for yesterday morning.
Yeah.
Okay. Or I don't know, sometime yesterday.
Yeah.
And I looked outside and it was like raining at the time we were supposed to be back here. So I feel like you're very good at what you do because you had the foresight to say, let's do it Tuesday. And this is a perfect day. This is the bluest sky you could ever see. And it's
high pressure, baby.
It's perfect. Like you just knew. You looked at the modeling and you said,
yeah,
do this Tuesday.
That's definitely what happened for sure. Yeah.
Okay, before I play some Rosie and Gray by the Lowest of the Low,
nice.
How was this? Like, I love that you listen.
Yeah.
I'm honored you listened to me. That's fantastic. It makes me feel great. And you were great. I think you got a great personality. And I think the world is your oyster, as they say. But how did this go for you?
Okay, I was very nervous, as I mentioned. There's the lawnmower again. I don't know what that's.
That might be her property now because she does the neighbors and then she does hers.
It sounds louder.
Oh, maybe it's a different lawnmower then.
Yeah, I think this one has more horsepower behind it. But this, I would say, you are a fantastic interviewer because immediately I was very comfortable. I never really felt like you asked me a question. I felt like it was very conversational. I know you did ask questions, but it felt more like a chat with a friend, which I think is the goal of every journalist, right?
That's by design.
So I was immediately comfortable. I think I answered things okay, and I'm very excited to tell people about this.
So you're saying I should have recorded it?
Yeah, I think you've got something here. I think you should keep going with this pod.
Okay, and on that, and then here's the magic words. Ready? You ready?
I'm ready.
And that. Someone t-shirts that say "and that."
And that.
Should I sell t-shirts that say "and that"?
Yes. You need merch. You need an online merch
store. There is Toronto Mike t-shirts available. If you go to torontomike.com and you click Tees, Tees at the top.
What about mugs?
There might be mugs too. I don't know what's available in that merch store. I got to check it out. Actually, I should find out what I'm selling.
Yeah.
But I need "and that." And I should also just drop at the end of this episode that we're going to have a meeting of the FOTMs, like an outdoor socially distanced meeting on July 16. So more details to come. But this is kind of exciting for Pandemic Friday fans. We're going to do the finale live somewhere outdoors on August 27. So like if you have a calendar, FOTMs can put like 7 p.m. July 16 and 7 p.m. August 27 in their location and details to be announced. But that's kind of exciting. So
that's a huge deal.
That's a big deal. I hope it's covered by 680 News and City News.
Yeah, I think you might have an in there.
And that brings us to the end of our 866th show.
Woo!
You can follow me on Twitter. I'm at Toronto Mike. Michelle is at Michelle Mackey. Our friends at Great Lakes Brewery, they're at Great Lakes Beer. Palma Pasta is at Palma Pasta. Sticker U is at Sticker U. Ridley Funeral Home, they're at Ridley FH. And Mimico Mike, he's actually not on Twitter. He's on Instagram at Majeski Group Homes. I'm going to get myself a Pfizer shot.
Yeah.
See you all next week.
But I'm a much better man for having known you. You know that's true because...
This podcast has been produced by TMDS and accelerated by Roam Phone. Roam Phone brings you the most reliable virtual phone service to run your business and protect your home number from unwanted calls. Visit roamphone.ca to get started.